moving on. Hi.
Hey.
So, how on earth did you become a surrogate?
Yeah, it's definitely wasn't something I thought about doing my whole life at all. It was after I moved to McMinnville a couple of years ago. I became friends with someone who was a surrogate, and I actually met Veronica too. Her husband was the soccer coach of my son's
nice.
team.
Nice.
And I heard you talk about like you had just had a baby, but I was really confused as where this baby was.
There's a friend called James like coached these kids, and I couldn't run with them, and I remember feeling guilty because I would have peed my pants because I had just had a baby, so like running wasn't an option.
Gotcha.
Anyway, go on.
No.
So it was after meeting this friend and Veronica and like, oh, she was a surrogate and this friend was a surrogate that kind of more and more like mulled over the idea. And I always have a passion for like moms and families. And it was actually my husband who said, hey, I think this would be a great opportunity for you.
So your husband was very supportive.
Yeah.
So because that's honestly like, I think lots of people think that who don't know personally other surrogates, they're just in their minds, they're going like, how does one become a surrogate? Like that, like how do you even think of doing that?
Right.
Well, so someone just basically started telling you their story and their journey, and you were like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, basically that was it, and just through more conversations, and I was like, well, I'll at least apply to Northwest Surrogacy Center and like see where things go. And it's not an easy process, and not everyone can be a surrogate. So I figured if it works out, then we'll pursue it. If it doesn't, you know, it's okay.
And who did you get set up with? See, okay, here's another big blaring question. Obviously, people, like, the go-to thought process and answer is, like, people who literally can't have children.
Right.
Or, flip side, celebrities who don't want to carry children anymore, or just rich people in general, people who can afford it, who just straight up don't want to carry children. But when I heard about the person that you cared for, I was actually very shocked. I didn't even think about it. So can you tell us anything about the gal?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love that Northwest Surrogacy Center only does surrogacy for people who are unable to have kids, whether it's a medical condition or it's the two men who obviously cannot have a child together. And so, but I initially went into it wanting to carry for a couple, but I ended up, my coordinator called and was like, hey, we have this single woman who can't carry a child herself, but she desperately wants to have kids. What do you think of that? And it was, I just had to kind of change my thinking because I wanted to carry for a couple, but definitely it's like, yeah, of course, like she should be able to have kids too.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, totally. Well, and what I love about your journey, I mean, you were so graceful. I mean, I was there from the beginning. I've known you since you started diving into this, and you've been just so graceful and so, I mean, so giving, obviously, of your body and your time and everything.
Right.
Did you, so you also got to be a surrogate.
Yeah.
How many babies have you carried so far?
I've carried 3 for I have 5 total, but I only kept 2 for myself.
Wow.
So I actually have twins that live in Paris with their dads.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they turned 5 in April.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and a baby girl that lives in Australia.
Australia?
Yeah.
Have you been to Australia?
I have.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really important to me that I'm personally matched with families that want to stay connected, because I want to see those babies grow, and I want to stay connected to their dads, and so I go see them.
That's another thing that, again, like people, just general public information don't know. Like, I always thought when you were a surrogate, you didn't have contact. Like, afterwards it was just like, here you go, see you never. But you do have that option.
Absolutely. If it's something that's important to you, you can tell your agency that. And Northwest is, I jokingly tell people that they're like the best dating service on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they really listen to what it is that you want, and they match you with a couple that really fits that. For me, I really wanted a couple that was okay with me being invested long term, and I was happy and willing to make that commitment to keep up a long-term international relationship.
Wow, yeah, international for both kids. Yeah, because your parent is national.
Right. She's
Yeah.
in the mom's in Seattle.
Yeah.
So, which is great because I get to visit more often. And
Sure.
yeah, baby and mom came to visit just when baby was 8 weeks old, and yeah, and we'll visit again this summer.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it's great.
So we've heard Anna's story of how she got into this. I actually can't remember. I don't think we've talked about this. How on
Yeah.
earth did you become a surrogate?
You know, it's actually something I had never thought about in my life. I didn't grow up thinking, oh, I want to be a surrogate when
Sure.
I grow up. Or,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't like watch Friends and think like, oh, I'm going to do what Phoebe did. Like,
Right.
it was never something that really stuck with me until I became a stay-at-home mom after my daughter was born. And I got in the habit of watching Netflix documentaries after my kids went to bed. And so one night I just stumbled upon a documentary about surrogacy. And like my husband walked in the room and I'm sobbing hysterically and he's like, what is wrong? And I told him, I was like, I want to be a surrogate. Like,
Oh man.
I just watched this documentary and I could really do this. And he kind of joked and was like, yeah, okay, just like you're going to learn how to knit and you're going to start scrapbooking. And I was like, no, I'm doing it. So the next day I went online and found Northwest.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Do you remember what documentary it was?
Yeah, it was actually called Little Man.
Little Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's really sad. It's not.
Oh.
It's not a good documentary.
Oh.
It doesn't highlight. It's awful. It doesn't highlight surrogacy in this really beautiful way. It actually is all of like a lot of negative things about surrogacy,
Oh, okay.
and that's kind of what inspired me though. Was I was like, oh, I have really healthy pregnancies, and I really do love being pregnant, and I would love to do that for somebody else.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That actually, you're reminding me. Have you guys seen The Handmaid's Tale?
Yes, the first season.
Yeah, I know. I kind of talked to you about it, but just for everyone out there watching, what these women have gone through is nothing like The Handmaid's Tale.
We got pregnant through science.
Yeah, yes.
Not force.
Science. Yes. Well, and there's another good topic to talk about. The science behind it.
Yeah.
What is going on there? Like, I'm sure everyone's different, but like, okay, for the dads that you gave birth for, did you guys get to use their DNA?
Yeah.
At all, or?
So for the twins, my dad's picked an egg donor and got follicles from her, and then each of them, they divided them between the two of them equally, and each of them created about 10 embryos each from each of the dads. And
Wow.
so each of them has a biological child created in utero.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Science is really fascinating.
That is so crazy. I also heard that they can choose the sex too.
Yeah, if
now.
embryos are pre-genetically tested, which means at 5 days, and I'm not an endocrinologist, like,
Yeah.
but at 5 days they take a little sliver of DNA and then freeze those embryos and send that DNA off to be tested so they can, you know, count all the chromosomes and all the really important
Wow.
things, and especially if, you know, some families know that they have a genetic mutation and they want to prevent their children from having that genetic mutation, they can have those genes tested ahead of time.
Wow, that's amazing.
And inherently, they also learn the sex of the baby,
Yeah.
which is not the reason to get pre-genetic testing done
Sure.
ever, but it is
Yeah.
a fun little thing that you also get.
Wow.
And the mother of the child I carried, she didn't have viable eggs, and so used an egg donor and a sperm donor.
Oh,
so
okay.
the baby I carried is not genetically related to her. And she did have genetic testing done and could have known the gender, but decided, you know, I don't care, boy or girl.
Sure.
So just whatever's healthy, use that embryo.
Yeah,
And
that's
she was
awesome.
surprised to find she was having a girl.
Did you wait till birth, or did you guys find
We
out?
did at the 20-week anatomy ultrasound.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Oh, fun. So, you were talking about earlier about how you even got filmed
Yeah.
for the dads, like this Paris. It was a Paris production, right? It was
Yeah,
French
it was
production.
a French production company.
That's so fun.
But yeah, we did a documentary through my first journey, which is
Cool.
super fun. You can find it on YouTube or through Northwest Surrogacy Center's website
Okay.
under the video tab. It's called 2 Men in a Cradle. It's actually a 2-part series. It was really fun to be a part of.
Cool.
Yeah, so it films me through the whole pregnancy and the dads and everything that they had to go through. And then it films us 1 year later when I went to
Yeah.
Paris for the girl's first birthday.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. There's your website up there.
Yeah, check it out.
Wow, cool. Well, this is really fun. I'm really glad you guys came because there's just so many like myths and hearsay and just misinformation about surrogacy in general. So I'm really glad you're here to kind of dispel that a little bit and to meet real live surrogates. Ooh, they're like animals in a zoo, but not really. I'm totally joking. You're real people. Yeah. So I don't know. Did you have anything else that was burning on your heart that you wanted to say? Like in the end, would you do it all again?
I would totally do it for the same mom again. It's just I love the relationship I have with her and would be happy to do the journey for her again. At this point, I don't plan on doing it for anybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was certainly a positive experience. There wasn't anything negative about it.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'd say the same. I absolutely loved caring for the couples that I cared for. I felt a very strong bond with my first couple and had a really hard time working with the second couple, but I'm really glad that I did. I didn't know if I would bond with them the same way that I did my first couple, but I absolutely did, and I love them too.
Awesome.
So it's been amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool. You guys saw the website. Where am I? Camera. Hello. There. The middle camera. Hi.
Which this got it.
You guys saw the website, Northwest Surrogacy Center. And then, yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Hello. Shaking your hand.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Well, I didn't get to hug. Normally when I come on, I hug, but I was
Right.
hiding behind the curtain, so I
Yeah,
couldn't do
creepy.
that. I'd love to thank MCM Studio for having this show. Thank you for watching Mandy and Friends. I want to thank our sponsors, Warden Missions. There's our Instagram, Mandy and Friends. Yeah, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and also the Blue Quail. That's me. I sponsor the show by being here. Maybe the Blue Quail. I also want to thank my almost 5-year-old son for being awesome and sitting in the back and not coming out here and throwing a temper tantrum. Thanks, Ezra. And thanks, Asher, for being the cameraman. You're awesome. And thanks, Talon, for directing. You're great, too. So, anyway, bye.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks for having me.
And that's when I knew the dog had rabies, bro.
No way,
Yeah, whoa,
Hey.
hey.
You got
Thanks
it.
for watching. Hey, I'd appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe to this video and to this channel. So please share your favorite video clip on any social media you'd like.
Yeah.